Welcome to Divisive Issues, a comic book podcast where we talk about comic books. I'm Ryan.
I'm Sly.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Darryl.
And here is our year closer fun spectacular. Right, guys? That was smooth.
Trademark, pen pending.
TM. And I can't think of a pun of Auld Lang Syne, so whatever.
You're an Auld Lang Syne.
No,
you're the Auld Lang Syne.
Good one, guys. We're off to a great end of the year.
Well, that joke sums up 2016. So
Yeah, pretty much. So Sly had a wonderful idea that I think we all really liked. At least I did. Fuck you guys. I don't give a shit about your opinions. And it's called Back Issues. Do you want to talk about it, Sly?
Well, we just thought that it would be interesting as a year-end special that since half of our, a little less than half of our backlog now, but a good chunk of our backlog is episodes not featuring Darryl or Phil, that we have them read some of those back issues, or back episodes, whatever you want to call them, and give their thoughts on it so we can see how they would interpret episodes they weren't here for in the past.
And what did we choose for them to enjoy?
Cry for Justice.
Justice!
What episode was this?
Episode 3.
I remember listening to this really early on, but
Justice.
We're going really old school. And I suggest this as a possibility for this segment because of our extreme reaction to Nemesis. And this character, in the Nemesis episode, Ryan mentioned that Mark Millar ripped off Nemesis of another character, and that most of Mark Millar's shit is a rip-off of Grant Morrison's shit because they worked together, and then Mark Millar backstabbed Grant Morrison and sold a lot of his ideas. Because he's a bad person as well as a bad writer.
According to Morrison.
I mean, just read his writing. It's
he's bad. He's a fucking good person. But so Nemesis was a rip-off of a Grant Morrison character called Prometheus. Prometheus was basically the same shit. Like, what if Batman was evil? Except it was more interesting because you actually got to see Batman face off against this evil Batman and defeat him by giving him basically, like, Prometheus has this that he puts into his helmet and that gives him the abilities of other people, and Batman basically hacked his this and gave him the fighting capabilities of only Stephen Hawking and kicked his ass.
Is that real?
Yeah, it's real. That's actually the first story appeared in. But this is the follow-up. After a few years of being kind of a joke character after his initial defeat, James Robinson was like, I'm going to bring him back. He's going to be cool again. And James Robinson is another noteworthy figure. We mentioned it. Like, for any of all this shit, go listen to our original episode to hear the full details. But James Robinson was basically like the new hot shit writer. Like, I would compare him to kind of like the George Lucas of comics in a weird way.
I think that's very fair.
Because like George Lucas didn't do that much work, but what he did was very influential in the medium. And James Robinson, even though a lot of non-comic readers might not know who he is, if you know comics, he was a big deal because in the 90s he created a series called Starman. And basically, it was a very unique specimen because not only was it critically acclaimed and very standalone, but also he got an exclusive contract with DC that as soon as when he quits the book, the characters he created for that book were retired. No one can do them except him. And that's pretty much unheard of. Spider-Man, when Stan Lee stopped writing Spider-Man was still by other writers. But when Starman cast was finished by Robinson's characters were finished. And Robinson himself, and just like George Lucas, when he came back, he proved how overrated he was.
I have seen lots of good Robinson since his...
There are decent good Robinson, but this story definitely proved he is not the golden child he was before.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Ironically enough, comparing him to George Lucas, I this morning read James Robinson's C-3PO one-shot from last year, and I loved it.
He could be a good writer, but...
Yeah, he is not the golden boy that people thought
he wrote Cry for Justice completely?
Yeah.
Yes. It was all his baby.
I've almost never seen such bad writing in a published work before.
And that's what I mean, Mike.
I agree.
The fact that he could write such shit shows he is not the fucking genius we thought he was. He's not the Alan Moore, Grant Morrison type he was being proclaimed as.
Yeah.
Are you sure, like, his first draft didn't get, like, accidentally published?
It feels like it, doesn't it, right?
It really does.
Yeah, so for mine and Sly's thoughts on it, we have an episode about it. So let's focus on what did Phil and Darryl think?
This was my least favorite comic I've read.
So, really? You think that?
I really think that.
Worse Nemesis?
Okay, so the problem, Nemesis is usually my go-to, like one of my least favorite things to read that we've done. But this was worse than Nemesis because it didn't even have any action really. It was like like a Nemesis on a DC-wide scale, and nothing happens throughout the whole thing.
No, things happen. Cities get blown up.
So very quickly, what was your guys' takeaway? What happened in this book?
So what happened in this book is that Hal Jordan gets really upset with the Justice League because they're not.
Hal Jordan, Green Lantern.
Yeah, Green Lantern.
They're not doing proactive justice, which is the going out to stop the bad guys.
This is a George Bush model of superheroism. We gotta attack them before they attack us here.
Yeah, preemptive strike.
So he takes his best friend, Green Arrow, and they fly around, and then parallel to this story is a monkey and an alien hanging out together, and that's literally all that happens. They just hang out for a while.
Hang out, yeah, like that's what I'm saying. You're saying stuff happens, but very little. There's 7 issues, and what mostly happens is Bill the monkey and this alien.
Called by a superhero name, Congarilla.
No, he says, "I'm Bill."
Yeah, he changes. He's like, I'm not Congarilla, I'm Bill. Whatever.
After his monkey family gets murdered,
They hang out forever, and then on the other side, it's all these other superheroes led by Green Lantern constantly saying, "Justice!" They literally yell to the sky, "Justice!"
That's even simplifying it because there are other factions. There's the actual Justice League that also come in later on. There's also a group of unrelated characters, another Flash and Shade that have nothing to do with anything.
There's a group of unrelated characters that don't affect the plot that seem to show up every 4 pages.
the most important unrelated character of all, Guardian. He shows up, he gets blinded, he's done.
Well, to be fair, all of the superheroes get fucking taken out like bitches in the story.
Wow, Sly rushing to the defense of Guardian.
But like Guardian, we already have evidence against Guardian. We don't need to add this to it because
Guardian's paid his due.
like if fucking Superman's useless in the story, then fucking Guardian can't be bitched about too much.
All these Nemesis comparisons. My big gripe with Nemesis was, if you will recall, that he has these like this uncanny way of always being ahead of the reader or the characters with, like, it's obvious that he's being, like, the writer is cheating and just making him win. And it's so apparent in this that Prometheus is the same way, where every time he's one step ahead of them, the bomb's about to explode in 3 seconds. The bomb's also made of kryptonite and Hal Jordan's DNA.
I was going to read from the actual page.
Yeah, go for it.
Because he sets off this bomb. They capture what they think is Prometheus, was actually Clayface, who's pretending to be Prometheus, and he has a bomb inside of him. And then he blows up like a Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Supergirl, and Shazam together. But Shazam defends them with lightning somehow. And
he says Shazam, and somehow that makes a force field. That's not how his powers work. Shazam powers, all they do is transform from big boy to little boy, nothing else.
Little boy to big boy.
So you think already it's like, okay, he was pretty smart for putting a bomb in Clayface and having him go. Like, that works. But then Green Lantern says, like, he analyzes the bomb particles, and his ring says, analysis of explosive compound laced with molecular nanobytes reconfiguring substance of blast every 0.000034 milliseconds. At moment of explosion, trace elements of kryptonite, also active ingredient Jordan DNA, making possibility ring would override protective screen. Only one present with plus percentage chance of survival is Shazam. So it wasn't enough that it's just a powerful bomb. It's that he had to, like, it was going to kill those other characters, when it's later revealed that Shazam is Prometheus anyway.
I fucking hate this.
It's
so
like,
much.
I had to protect you guys from dying because I want, like, something worse to happen to you.
And the only other, like, major things that happen are they just maim another character, kill a baby, and destroy a city.
No, like, literally, if you read this comic and you don't know, like, 1,000 comic book characters and their backstories, it's a stream of nonsense.
Yeah, and their characters, like, there'll be pages with 15 new characters, and they have to put word bubbles and explain every single one.
It's just constant. Someone showing up, someone saying sentences that are actually pretty hard to understand because the writing is so bad. The syntax, the grammar, it's all, like, it's really hard to understand what they're saying.
It's like a bunch of sentences are mashed together, and sometimes, like, things just aren't explained. Like, at one point, a character says to another character, Al Pratt and you were never close like me and Barry and Wally or Alan or Hal. And it's like they don't use the superhero names. You're just supposed to know these are all like a bunch of Flash characters. Then Green Lantern's in there, or Green Arrow.
But also, human beings don't talk like that. Like, hey, Joe, you're never as close to us as me as Barry or Tom and Dave and Jill.
Yeah.
You just say you're not as close to me as my other friends.
There's other
Like,
weird sentences. My intelligence feels a need to know the way of all of this.
Sometimes reading this book felt like reading the transcript of a Trump speech.
Yeah. Mike Dante was my friend, and he died a bad death.
Wait. The explosion was the thing. Prometheus's death trap. That super smart, super cute Freddy found a way to save us from and win our confidence.
Yeah.
It's like,
What?
What
What does that
just
mean?
Needed one editor to go, you need to rearrange the sentence so it makes sense.
This is probably a good example of why most writers, when they get an ego, probably fucking suck. I think almost universally. I don't think any writer who became famous doesn't write shit at some point, because after a certain point you're like, I don't need editors anymore. I'm fucking great, and that's probably what happened here.
My father's dead. I want justice. Together we can be justice. and justice is so overused in this comic. People will look at the sky and yell justice repeatedly throughout.
The first issue.
Justice League, Justice Society, Justice League of America. What is justice?
I'm someone who loves justice. I think comics like about justice are some of my favorite, even if it's
Especially
hammy.
social justice, right, Phil?
Yeah. But like it's even if it's over the top, I can deal with it usually. But here it's just so shitty.
There's a reason why people call this Gay for Justice.
Well, they call it that because the fucking title looks like it says "Gay for Justice." It's the shitty font choice.
So how does this end? It's a bunch of nonsense for 7 issues. They talk about a Flash museum.
It's one human that beats the entire Justice League.
Not just the entire Justice League, all the superheroes in the world, basically.
Yeah, everyone.
Even
in
Guardian.
one hit with each of them on like 2 pages.
It's crazy too because it's like the idea behind it, like with Nemesis, is he plans so well that he has everyone's weaknesses. But that I don't know if anyone who wrote this has ever seen like a real fight or anything. Like people, just because you have someone's weakness doesn't mean you get to just one shot everyone. Like
Yeah.
I use this example with you guys, but in real life, everyone's weak to guns. If you have a guy standing there with a gun and 30 other people who also have guns, or like. He can maybe kill one person or 2.
Especially if some of those people that have guns can react in nanoseconds.
So,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
you're saying the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
The only thing that's top Prometheus is another Prometheus. That's why Prometheus is so OP, because Batman's dead at this point in the story.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Spoilers for other stories. It's not
If
even
this
this.
comic fight was live action or animated at all, like how would this look?
It would look like a fucking one of those fights in any shitty movie where everyone just takes turns while they're trying to fight the villain.
Or it'd be like in slow motion and just be like Prometheus's narration. Being like, I know you're weak to kryptonite. I'll use this compound on you to make you stretch out really far.
It's so bullshit too, because it computates shit. His head computer computates shit while he's fighting guys. So in no realistic way is the computer analyzes information and relaying it in words.
That's why I
to
love
him.
that he beats the Flash off screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I don't know.
He beats multiple Flashes. There's 2 Flashes in the story. He beats both of them.
It's like even if you can literally kill someone in one hit, and you're in a room full of superheroes, some of them who can fly around the world in like 10 seconds, and you're just a guy, and you just shoot all of them one by one, and it was just the most bullshitty fight I've ever seen.
So you think it's a good, great book, and you love it a lot, right?
Yeah.
And then it only gets worse as they strap him down the chair, and like Prometheus, he's like, "You think I didn't plan for this? Like I want to be
like
captured."
Nemesis.
Yeah.
You guys can't even keep Nemesis and Prometheus straight because they're the same fucking character. One's purple and one's white.
And also, the way he gets taken out is he gets taken out by an arrow to the head by fucking Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't plan
That
for
was a great part because, like, I thought this was supposed to be an edgy story about this bad guy wins and, like, you'll have to live in fear about what he'll do next. But it's like the last 3 pages is just Green Arrow somehow walks into his dimension, shoots him through the head, and it's like, you didn't plan for any of this?
I never expected somebody to break into my house. What the fuck?
The villain whose whole shtick is he has a super helmet didn't protect against head injury.
Yeah, that's one of the weirdest things. If you're prepared to fight Superman, an arrow can pierce your helmet, like...
Also, the fact that if he can literally be killed by just an arrow, that means not one superhero in that entire struggle hit him once.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, again, there was that one girl. I don't know what her powers is, but she just beat him up.
She's
with
just
her
Wonder
fist.
Girl. She's literally a junior version of Wonder Woman.
Okay. Well, that makes a little more sense why she was able to beat him up.
More than fucking Flash or fucking any other superhero.
And I was also confused on. He explained that his goal, like his whole motive, is that he's basically putting these bombs in these cities to displace them in space and time, so that all of the heroes that love the cities and that were from there, they wouldn't know what's happening to the people in there. And it's like that kind of dread is even worse than death, because you're not sure if they're alive or dead. And then at the end, he was just blowing up all the cities. Or just
He accidentally did it or something. It's like, oops, my bomb that was supposed to send them in space and time just blew
No,
up
what
the
actually
city.
happened? This I brought this up in my initial review and Joe and Ryan were like, no, this makes sense. Fuck you, Sly. Because he plans everything, just to calculate everything. He calls in every villain favor in the book to do this plan where he traps everyone in space and time. But what happened was, because he got captured, he's like, oh yeah, if in case I got captured, I was just going to say, let me go and I'll cancel my plan. So his plan for being captured is just cancel his plan after all that planning.
Yeah.
Also, that's something that's great that you mentioned all the villain favors. The first, fucking 4 issues of this book, he's not in it. And it's just random villains from the DC universe attacking other cities that they're not native
like Javelin.
Oh, Javelin is
to. I'm not a B-lister. I throw spears. I'm not a B-list villain. Fuck you. A guy with a gun is more powerful than that. But anyway, and because they're going to other cities and attacking out other element, the superheroes, they're like, I don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah, and it makes no sense because there's a fucking character in there called Shade, whose power. Prometheus meets him, he's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm Shade. You never heard of me because I'm a villain, not a hero, and I reformed recently. And then when they put this bomb in to counter the hero's powers, Shade is like, oh no, he countered my power too, even though he literally did not know I existed when he made this plant bomb.
I don't even remember is Shade the guy with the hat?
Yeah.
He's got the hat, yeah.
And there's so many characters that I kept I was reading this while browsing the internet because I couldn't stay focused. Every time I would look at it, my mind would just draw blank.
One of the most confusing things too is the way that it ends. It's like there were only certain characters that you need to follow. Like, for instance, Congo Bill and the Alien had nothing to do with the whole story. Their stuff is fun, but it has absolutely nothing to do with the story. The story was kind of about Green Arrow and the Justice League, and that's it.
It's only about that's being very generous. It's about Green Arrow and Green Lantern. That's it. Everyone else is pretty secondary. They don't accomplish anything in the story itself.
But even Hal doesn't do anything at the end of that.
Yeah,
Green Arrow's the only one because it's about him killing him at the end.
Yeah.
I just love Hal Jordan's the main character who does nothing the whole time, really.
Yeah.
Except just yell about justice and be mad at
even that
people.
scene where he's like, willpower. Prometheus's computer is willpower depleted, all according to Kikaku, and then he can't use his ring or something because his will's low.
Yeah, Mongo couldn't break his fucking will after he destroyed Coast City, but Prometheus figured it out. Fuck you, book.
Fuck you, book.
Where was Superman?
Superman was he was on New Krypton at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you guys think of the art?
The art was great.
Yeah, the art's great.
The art was real. That's one of the most confusing parts. Is when you're reading this, you're like, I feel so terrible for this artist that they had to spend so much time doing this, and it's attached to this story.
I think we mentioned it last time, but Sly said that the artist quit comics forever after this.
Yeah, I think this is synonymous for a lot of human creations where, look at fucking the Transformers movies where. Look, just when they show that scene of a fucking robot humping Megan Fox's legs, imagine the amount of effort the animators and film crew
that's months of work right there.
Yes, that's
millions of dollars.
That's human effort in a nutshell. Just all that effort, all that creative talent. People went to school learning this shit to satisfy that fucking story, and that's human.
I feel like one of the sad things too is the art was fitting for the premise of the story of why don't we go stop the bad guys before we get to them? A more darker take on what a superhero is doing. But then, there's jokes written into it, and their faces don't change to reflect the jokes how they would in comic books. So they're just delivered in this weird deadpan way. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Green Arrow jokes with Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And they're just they come off really weird.
It also doesn't help that the syntax is so bizarre.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, baby, I'm with you. Old times, new times, all the time.
And there's some lines where they're trying to make a funny joke, but like Hal Jordan and Green Lantern or Green Arrow are arguing about something, and he's like knee-jerk liberal, and then that's his end of the joke. It's like it just
Also reminds me of like Batman vs Superman when they make a joke and it's just after Batman murders a room full of people, and then his mom and Superman's mom makes a joke like, "Oh, I recognize you're my friend of my son because you have a cape, ha ha ha." And it's like after all these people got murdered, you're gonna make a joke now. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Pray for fucking justice.
I think the idea of it is cool. Like maybe not waiting for the villains to attack, going after them.
I actually, looking back at this premise, I hate it even more because it really is the Bush fucking model in superior form.
No, but it's an interesting.
It's a cool
take.
thing to explore.
Yeah,
Like John Winnick's Outsiders does this concept a fucking million times better, and it was years before this.
Because especially in the case of someone like Prometheus, where it's like you probably should have had someone looking for this dude that was this dangerous.
Yeah.
I understand your complaint, Sly, but that's like. Obviously, we don't want to have a world like Minority Report, but it's still an interesting idea, you know, like...
In a world where you're as powerful as a god, you can explore this in a way that's interesting and nuanced, and not the way it is explored here.
There's fucking no nuance.
In a world where one man can turn another man's brain into a baby's brain.
Oh wait, we forgot to say that almost half the book is fucking what's his name, the little guy,
The Atom?
Adam
Yeah.
going into people's noses and beating up their brain or something.
Yeah, Adam is like fucking Ant-Man, except he can shrink to the size of an atom.
Yeah, it says, "Do you know what a sinus headache is?"
Oh,
It feels
Over and over and over. Every time they go to random villains and they're like, we weren't proactive enough before. Let's go in their nose.
And my favorite is every time Green Arrow being like, "Hal, do we really need to do this?" And Hal's always like, "They're villains. They don't deserve rights."
And that debate gets solved off screen. Like after like a random point, Adam's just like, I just realized off screen that Green Arrow is right. I shouldn't torture people.
And then when they capture Prometheus and they have him bound to a chair, Adam goes up to him and Prometheus is like, "You gonna give me a sinus headache?" And he's like, "No, I'm better than that." When he's tortured all these other people already, and the worst person of all is right in front of him.
Yeah, and again, this is 7 issues. He does it every issue. He's just going in someone's nose. And
Which I think is an interesting idea that you could explore more, that superheroes do have the power to like really torture people.
yeah.
But it's so silly.
But it's not explored. It's just, like Sly said, there's no nuance. It's just like, this thing we are doing, let us do it. And then someone's like, it is wrong. And then they're like, it is wrong. And then it ends.
So say we all.
And then he goes and shoots him in the head. Like,
Yeah.
what a shit book.
So, is there anything else you guys want to say about Cry for Justice?
I regret reading it. It was too long.
Nemesis is better. That was the other thing I wanted to bring up. Why I think Nemesis is better is because Nemesis isn't in an established universe where you're like, this is so dumb, but this follows its own internal logic of being so dumb. Whereas like this, you have characters that have a history and powers, and it's like, how can you lose to this one human? Like, especially, how can you not catch him when his suit has chameleon effect? It's like, how does Supergirl not use her X-ray to see through Shazam's disguise? That's like, it's clearly
a guy. And they have that this fucking romance hints between Shazam and Supergirl throughout the thing, so that when he's like, I'm actually Prometheus, it's like, oh no, I thought they were on the cover of one of them they're kissing.
It's them kissing, and they never all that happens is Supergirl goes like, he's hot.
Yeah, repeatedly, and then that was the super cute, super smart Freddy who was the coincidence from Us or whatever.
Well, there's a reason for all that shit, all the misleading covers and shit. And this is my message of hope for humanity after last episode. Because as we get to the new year, I think this is the anti-Lobo, because this was intended to be the new superhero team, and basically it was so panned, like almost immediately. They started dialing down the number of issues it was going to have. They were dialing how long it was going to be, and they were dialing what access to which characters Robinson was going to have. Like at one point, Batwoman shows up, but she's not part of the story at all because she was supposed to be a member, but she was supposed to be a member. But basically, at a certain point, he's like, "This book sucks, James Robinson. You're not getting fucking Batman. Get the fuck out of here!" And they fucking ended at 7 issues. So humanity rejected this book. Praise humanity.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, at least there's that.
The delegates came and saved the day for once.
If people had, if this was like a cult classic, I would kill myself.
Prometheus.
Like this is unequivocally worse than Nemesis, and I don't say that lightly.
For me, Nemesis is better just because it's easier to read because it's not fucking mountains and mountains of dialogue every page.
Yeah, that's the thing is they're equally aggravating in terms of like the plot and structure and everything. But
Cry for Justice takes like 3 times longer to read.
And each page is really crammed with shit that I do not care about. When they're talking about the Ninth Flash and his friends who hang out at the Flash Museum where they keep the cosmic treadmill and the time pool or something, I'm just like, oh my god, I couldn't take reading some of these pages. I really couldn't.
So I think we can all agree that you guys hate it.
Cry for Justice made us cry.
So at the end of last episode, we talked about. We put out a call to what are everyone's favorite episodes, and the only person who responded was Tracy, and she echoes Darryl's sentiments that any Mark Millar episodes are the best, and she loved Nemesis.
I think it's great because it gets us riled up.
Yeah. It was therapeutic out of all of them.
And she also mentioned Trouble, which might have to be next year's back issue.
Sure. Which is also Millar.
Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, which is also Mark Millar, which I always forget.
But that was Mark Millar. Joe was like, "This is great, Mark Millar." This is, when he read Wanted, this is not the Mark Millar.
Trouble is great, Mark Millar. Comparatively, yeah. So, what was everyone's favorite and least favorite books they read this year? So let's start with Phil.
My least favorite, I mean, aside from the Unfunnies, obviously.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We have to put the caveat aside from Unfunnies.
Unfunnies is a tier Unfunnies, like its own tier of.
Yeah.
Everyone accepts this is the worst humanity's created.
Again, it's like pedophilia jokes. That's all that really is. So it's like this isn't. No, thank you.
I'm torn between Cry for Justice and The Boys. I hate both of them so much.
So you hate the Boys more than Nemesis?
I think so.
Wow, you're harsher than I am.
You know, it's me lifting up Nemesis in the eyes.
Yeah,
maybe.
Like every time.
I feel better about Nemesis after reading Cry for Justice because I'm like, wow, that was a more boring version of Nemesis, which was already shit.
I think I might like The Boys now after recent events.
Of course you do.
When when Superman pulls down his pants and says "suck my dick" to that woman, I imagine her face being America and like, Superman being Donald Trump.
Jesus. Okay, so what about your favorite, Phil?
That's a good question. Superman versus Muhammad Ali, maybe? I really enjoyed reading that. Are we talking about favorite episode or favorite comic?
Favorite book.
Favorite episodes are my favorite episode's fucking Unfunny's Nemesis. That's not my fucking favorite books at all.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with either Death of Superman or Superman versus Muhammad Ali.
Cool.
Really cool. Fun to read. Really cool to talk about. Just great.
I'm going to go next because my favorite was actually also Superman versus Muhammad Ali. Even though I think the best book we read, in my opinion, was probably Afterlife with Archie, I expected that to be great because Sly raved about it so much. I thought Superman vs. Muhammad Ali was going to be really stupid, and I super loved it a lot. And basically, all the things Phil said, it was fun, it was uplifting. But my least favorite was one that Sly mentioned earlier. I fucking hated Wanted a lot. I know it's before you guys joined the show, but it's it's just the worst. Edgelord. It's the fucking ultimate edgelord shithead bullshit, and I hated it so. I'm just getting so mad thinking about.
Well, when you have your main character raping people,
yeah,
it is pretty terrible.
Mark Millar really deserves if there was a punishment for bad writers, he would get the death penalty.
He had a fucking character that was like Clayface but made out of the shit of Hitler. Come on.
Shithead, yeah. And then me and Joe and Ryan and I had a debate over whether Fuckwit, the mentally retarded superhero, was actually shithead in disguise. Was he shit or a fuckwit?
God damn it.
Maybe he's like Trump. He's the master troll. He's playing us, and we're all arguing about his dumb shit as he sits there and laughs.
Yeah, as he's getting more popular and people are buying his books, and we're
he's like, people are arguing whether it's shithead or fuckwit. I am the real winner here.
What about you, Darryl?
So my favorite was the Swamp Thing comic about menstruation.
That was good.
I thought that
Oh,
one was
cool.
super cool.
I hope people who didn't watch the episode hear that and have very fun images in their head of what it entails.
Swampy menstruation.
It's about this woman that turns into a werewolf, and
It's really
it's
good.
an allegory for just like for how women are held down by men. And it was just really neat. It wasn't something I expected to see in a comic, especially from, as we've argued over, a name like Swamp Thing. And then I think my least favorite one is probably the Batgirl episode with her gams, where she's only useful when she's showing off her legs to men, and they ogle her while Batman and Robin beat him.
Looks like we got an SJW over here. My favorite issue was the one about women's rights, and my least favorite issue was the one objectifying women.
Yeah, they do coincide. Well, I was gonna argue Spider-Man Reign because I really did not like that at all.
That was also pretty bad.
But that at least has some parts where you're like, okay, this is decent. Well, that Batman, nothing was good.
What about you, Sly?
My favorite is actually Wanted. I think represents my...
You're fucking lying.
I am fucking with you, but
He's gonna pull off his mask and be like, "How is Mark Millar the whole time?"
And I've become Phil, where I'm like, no, there's no way. Fuck you, you're lying.
You liar.
but my favorite is probably Alan Moore's Batman: The Killing Joke.
Oh, I completely didn't think about that. But yeah.
If it would have been, I actually was never a huge fan of the story, and I think I liked it the least out of the four of us when we were discussing it because I was confused, overrated, but I think it represents humanity more than I thought it did. When
me.
after November 8th, I was like, I am the Joker. I started laughing at very macabre things.
Macabre.
Macabre.
Yeah.
Shimomile,
Yeah, Chipotle, Shamamali.
Quesadilla.
But I started laughing at very macabre things, and I was like, yes, everything we fought for doesn't matter. The only downside of that story is that it ends with Christian Gordon doesn't go insane, when in reality everyone will go insane. Like that's what will happen. When you get everything of value taken away from you, you'll go insane because that's what humanity does.
It argues not to go insane in an insane world.
So the main thesis is a lie. Follow Joker's logic. He's telling the truth. That's what America did today, this year. We saw, we were like, we're
2016 is the one bad day for society.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the book of the year. And worst book of the year, I guess it has to be one of those shitty discrimination books.
It doesn't have to be anything.
No, just because I'm gonna say the worst one is the fucking Legion Superior of Superior.
Oh,
comic,
that one's pretty
Yeah,
bad.
that one's bad, too.
where Superboy points at an Asian man and he says, "Doesn't matter if you're yellow like this guy. We tolerate everybody," while they're trying to coerce a black man to stop acting so black and join the Justice League and stop hating people.
Yeah, be more white like they are.
Yeah.
I mean, colorblind, aka
Each
white.
one of his screams has a different power, so he goes "Haru" and he gets like big feet or something.
I forgot about that. I'm from the black-only island, where as opposed to white-only rest of the world.
Oh, also, I want to give an honorary mention to one that was before Phil and Darryl that I just remembered. The best So Bad It's Good was definitely Batman Odyssey, the first half of it. That book ruled.
I would like to also, I just thought of this, honorable mention to the Amagara Fault ish.
That was really
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Although
yeah.
the horror manga stuff is pretty good, and that one in particular stuck with me. It was a good one.
Yep.
Go back and listen
Cool.
to our episodes. Do it. We have an episode where Punisher wears blackface.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
which we actually liked. That was one of our good episodes.
We did a lot of good stuff this year.
I'd say that one was in my top 5.
For good stuff?
Just because at least the Punisher one, because they at least attempted to try and address like, hey Punisher, why are you killing all these people?
Yeah.
Yo, Punisher, why you killing all those people, huh?
You know, almost like Cry for Justice, except not at all.
Thanks, Darryl, for that poignant comparison.
You're welcome.
So, I would like to be a little sincere for a second, if that's okay with you guys.
One Mississippi.
Yes.
Fuck. As a lot of our listeners may probably know, podcasts they take a lot of work and you don't get like anything out of it. So I just really wanted to thank all the people that have supported us, especially from the beginning, like Tony and Avery and Ariel and all our guest hosts like Brian and Sean and also Ariel and Liz. Is that everybody? Did anyone else guest? I guess Darryl.
Darryl's our permanent guest.
Yeah.
But I just really wanted to thank everybody to help us get through the first year. And Also, all the people, like all the newer fans, like Matt and Tracy, have been like super, super involved, and that's really cool. And all the network people, like all the Square Roots guys, and Shirley Not Shirley, and Ryan from Tales from the Static has been super great. And Malcolm has been and Justin have been incredibly helpful too. And I want to give a huge thanks to Owen from Classic Schmassic. And I guess Chris too. But Owen did more to promote us than I think any of us lazy assholes ever did. And he's the one who introduced us to Malcolm and told Malcolm he should put us on the network. So thanks a lot, Owen. And I want to give the biggest thanks of all to our fallen comrade Joe, who helped us start it. And
He died in battle.
yeah, he died in battle with Mark Malone.
Died in the Civil War.
And even though Joe's not on the show anymore, we definitely would not be doing this if it wasn't for Joe in the first place. So thank you so much, Joe. You're the best.
I actually probably wouldn't have this unnatural hatred for comics if I didn't hear you and Joe and Sly just arguing about comics for so many years. So
Yep.
It is important.
Yeah, I knew a lot less about comics than I did like a year and a half ago.
Aren't you so much better for it?
Well, I am glad I know some things, and I'm also sad I know some things.
That's how we all feel by the end of the day.
Oh, and also all the people that retweet our new episodes and always when I ask stupid comic book questions, like Joe Crawford and Zach, and I guess also Matt too there. And yeah, you guys are all great. And all the other podcasts that have plugged us, like not just the network, but also like Wings and Songs That Saved Your Life, and the Comics Canon has plugged us quite a few times. And it's awesome. I really feel like we're not... Sometimes it's tough when you podcast, but you guys have made it very clear that we're not just yelling into the ether, and people actually kind of give a shit about what we have to say.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Like, there's 3 people who like us, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And 3 of them are us. I hate us, obviously.
Oh, wait, I hate us too, so...
So now we're down to 2. Darryl, what's your opinion?
Undecided.
And special thanks to Never Enough, who always emails us, or not always, but a couple times, and then never responds when I ask follow-up questions.
Just like a politician.
I guess. But we hope everyone's 2017 is better than 2016.
That's the hope.
Probably won't be, but...
It probably won't be. Well, thank you guys for listening for this whole year. It's been great, and I've been a sinus headache.
I've been Stephen Hawking.
Shit. I've been a bomb made of kryptonite, Hal Jordan's DNA, and nanobots.
And I've been a scientist assigned to Prometheus who gets his brain turned into a baby's brain. For helping him, I guess.
Stay in continuity.